Hi, welcome to Sue Marie P. My name's Sue and today I'm sharing one of my favorite types of bread, a spelt loaf bread. So I'm going to share with you how to make a simple spelt loaf bread with instant yeast, and I'm doing it with whole grain or wholemeal spelt flour today. So let's get mixing. In this bowl I'm going to add, it's about 3.5 cups or 500 grams of whole grain or wholemeal spelt flour. And I like to weigh it on my scales as well. And into that we're going to add 1 teaspoon of dried instant yeast, like a heaped teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of just regular white sugar. I'm just going to whisk that up. And then into that I'm going to add some warm water. So it's just warm, lukewarm to touch. I often put a dash of hot boiling kettle water and then the rest is filtered water. So we just pour all that in. Then I'm going to use my stand mixer with a dough hook. If you don't have a stand mixer at this stage, you can just start kneading it with your hands or a wooden spoon. So we're just going to combine the flour with the water. And as that's mixing around, I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt and a drizzle of olive oil, or you can use sunflower oil. That's about a tablespoon. I just kind of use my eye and it's dripping everywhere. We're going to knead that for 5 minutes. We don't want to knead spelt flour too long. The gluten fibers are shorter than regular wheat flour and it just makes it tough if you knead it too much. So I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes. And what you'll start noticing is the bowl will start looking clean. So once the flour's mixed, I'll bump it up to about a medium speed. Just going to bump it up. While that's mixing around, grab your small loaf tin, it's about a 900 grams or 2 pounds, and grease it and line it with some paper. I always like to leave my paper a little bit longer on the side so I can lift it out. This bowl's looking clean already. I'm just going to knock that back a bit because it's so noisy. I'm just going to stop and check it. That's at about the 3-minute mark. So it's kind of like shaggy and stretchy. And we just need to do what's called a window pane test. And I reckon that's ready. You can see through it. So that only took 3 minutes. I'm going to grab that off this dough hook. Pop some oil on your hands or flour. It's a way of moisturizing your hands as well. Grab your dough and just pop some oil on the dough. And I'm just going to reuse this bowl. And I'm going to drizzle olive oil in there. I love using olive oil because it makes the dough extra moist and a little bit on top. Grab a damp cloth like this one. And we're just going to push that to one side. So that can rest for an hour. So I'm going to set a timer for an hour. So for the magic of the video, I prepared one beforehand. So this is one I prepared over an hour ago and it's already doubled in size. So this is good to come out. So I'm going to grab some flour on my bench. So I've got some more of the whole grain spelt flour here. I always grew up with it being called wholemeal in Australia, and here for some reason in the UK it's called whole grain. So when I go to say it I kind of get confused. So I'm scooping that out. I've got a flexible dough scraper which is perfect, but if you don't have one of those you can just use your hands. Okay, so because we don't want to knock too much of the air out, I'm just stretching it onto the floured bench, gently pressing it into like a square shape. Then I just start folding it into itself, then back again, and then I form kind of like a log shape. And this doesn't really need to be super perfect because it will still turn out. And then I pop that into my loaf tin. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of water to the top of the bread. This is just so I can put some sesame seeds on to make it look pretty. And they stick. And you can make some cuts into the bread at this stage. So just throw some sesame seeds on. And I need a cloth to cover it, or you can cover with plastic wrap. And we need to sit this for 45 minutes until it rises again, which is called the second proof. So adding a moistened cloth helps the humidity and locks in some of the warmth. So we just set that to one side and we'll let that rise again for 45 minutes. So we've got about 20 minutes on our clock before we need to pop the bread in the oven. But what I'd recommend is putting your oven on now, preheating it to 200 degrees C, which is about 400 Fahrenheit, I think. Pop some notes up above. Make sure the middle shelf is ready to go. And what a bonus tip that I like to do when I'm baking bread is I grab like a little vessel, like either a small container that's oven proof, and pop some water in there, and then I pop that on the bottom tray every time I bake bread, and it ensures that there's a really fine, gorgeous crust and it's still soft and fluffy and moist in the middle. You can also spray your oven with steam. I find this is easier. My oven's lovely and hot, and I've just checked the bread or the dough, it's not bread yet. It's risen a lot, so I'm going to pop it in the oven now. So we're going to pop it in for about 25 to 30 minutes. You want to make sure that when you tap the dough or tap the bread, it sounds hollow, and then you know it's done. So I'm just going to pop it on the middle shelf and grab your little ramekin or container of water, tin of water, and pop that on the bottom or on the lower shelf. And I'm going to set the timer for 25 minutes and double check it. But be careful, when you open the door, there'll be steam in the oven, so you get a waft. A big lot of steam in your face, and I always get shocked. So just a warning if you open your oven door. Our spelt bread's out of the oven, and you can either let it cool in the tin or you can remove it. We need to let it cool for at least 30 to 45 minutes before we slice into it. And if you do the tap test, it sounds hollow. So I can't wait to show you what it looks like on the inside. So we're back with our spelt bread. The tennis is over. Barty won. I'm super excited that a fellow Australian won the Wimbledon, but it's not about tennis, it's about bread making. So let's cut into our spelt bread and I'll show you what it looks like. So look at that. It's lovely and soft, even though we've done it with whole grain flour. This will be perfect tomorrow for toast in the morning with our morning coffee. I hope you've enjoyed my bread making. The other one that I made, I did it in a different tin, so it's a little bit higher, and I added a little bit of fruit. So don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you've liked my video. And write a comment below. I love getting comments from my viewers out there. Share what you think of this video. Let me know if you're going to give it a go. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new here today. Please stick around and watch a few of my other bread making videos with spelt flour. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.